Hey everybody, welcome to the Starting a Counseling Practice podcast. I am absolutely delighted today to have our guest Teresa here. We're going to be talking today about a really important subject of all of us have moved, or many of us have moved to virtual. We're doing hybrid virtual or in-person practices. Some of us are doing completely virtual practices. And how does this impact your hiring and your human resources and some of the policies that you might have in place for your employees? So Teresa, do you want to introduce yourself, where you're located, and share your website address with us?
Sure. My name is Teresa Murphy, and I am located in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from Montana and ventured to Atlanta after college. So I've lived here quite a few years now, and my company is Hire Ventures. We enable our clients to be able to find, attract, hire, and then retain talent. And our clients are typically small, growing organizations that have enough employees to have HR needs, but may not need a full-time HR resource. And the company website is hireventures.com.
It's so much fun. So the way that I actually met Teresa is, as we have been hiring and expanding our team, we are sending all of these computers into the mail for our team members. And we've always given people the option of, hey, you can bring in your own laptop if you wish, and we can give you a stipend, or we'll send over a laptop to you. And most of the time people choose a stipend, and suddenly people were choosing a laptop. So we're sending these out, and I thought, wait, how does this work? What happens if this person quits? What happens if we fire this person? They live in another state on the other side of the country. And so I went to this amazing organization that I'm a part of, where they have all these very fancy, very successful entrepreneurs, and said, hey, how does this work? And everybody pointed me to Teresa and said, Teresa is the person who understands and knows how this works. So let's talk about that, because I think that's what happens for a lot of us, is we basically get into a particular situation, we start doing something, and then we go, oh wait, is there supposed to be a form? Is there, what am I missing here? So what are some of the things that happen if a business owner doesn't create some kind of a policy or a process for getting out company equipment? What have you seen things go wrong?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think it's a challenge that a lot of organizations of different sizes have met. A lot of organizations that had never been virtual before are now what they're calling virtual first. So they've moved into that capacity, and it opens up a whole realm of how do they not only handle physical equipment, but also intellectual property and other email and information being on different devices and all of that. So a lot of it points to having a proper policy in place, and a policy that is appropriate for your company and also the state that you're in. So here in the US, from state to state, the laws can vary. So there in California, it's very different. The requirements are very different as to what you're allowed to do and withhold for company equipment compared to how they are here in Georgia. It's a little different level of employer friendliness here in Georgia.
What does it look like in Georgia, just for an example?
Well, Georgia's extremely employer friendly. So there are not as many restrictions and requirements for what an employer can do here. Mm-hmm. Things around how we, hire, how we terminate, how we calculate paid time off and sick pay. The state is very employer friendly in that respect. Mm-hmm. Whereas in California and other states, there's required paid sick time, and you can't, withhold paid time off if it's accrued upon termination, and just various levels of different laws from state to state. So if you're a multi-state employer, it can be a little more complex. If you have an employee in California and an employee in Georgia, and an employee in Texas and Massachusetts, all of those rules are something that you would want to stay up on, and then make sure that your policies or your employee handbook reflect those correctly.
So when we're talking about the idea of, for example, sending out a computer to staff. This is the most common thing that we get in private practice, is they need a computer with a webcam that can access the internet so they can do virtual counseling sessions. We need to, as we're sending that out, get a signed document that says, hey, when you quit or if you were fired, here's what happens with that computer, and here's what will happen if you don't return it, right?
Correct.
And then here's what will happen if you don't return it is absolutely kind of set in many ways by the state.
Yes, the guidelines are there to indicate or to help an employer understand what it is they have to communicate and then what they're allowed to do upon termination. So, something like a return of company equipment policy or a memo or a document that the employee signs upon onboarding is something that you could certainly do. If you had an employee handbook, you would just want to make sure that that policy is reflected correctly for your state. And then having a document that lists out all of the equipment that's been given. Is it a laptop? Is it a tablet? Is it an iPhone or another phone? Are there keys or any other devices that are being given to the employee that are expected to be returned upon termination?
I was just thinking about that we've been sending out these laptops and we don't have the serial numbers written down anywhere. But that's like something, as you're saying that, I'm like, oh, that would be like a basic thing to like list these MacBooks. It's like, and here's the serial number for the computer that we sent to you.
Yeah, so you have the policy that kind of outlines the expectations for employees and for you or your managers. And then you have the actual document that is typically part of onboarding, that the employee is going to sign off on the fact that they've received these documents. And then they'll be held in the personnel file or electronically. And then upon termination, you'll want to recoup them. And it is amazing the difficulty employers of all sizes have in recouping things outside of the laptop. So some of the chargers and the additional items that go along with it are really expensive and it can add up. So having that correct foundation, it can pay for itself if you can recoup equipment. And then if not, if you can deduct that final cost from your employee paycheck upon termination.
And you have, so at hireventures.com, guys, she actually has a template for you in terms of this loan or sending out of the company equipment. So go and check that out. She has one that's state specific too, for a particular state, and then you have a template for others as well. It's super low cost, totally worth it as a starting point to kind of go down that path. Because I think this is an area where we can just create some more clarity. As therapists, right, we're always talking about how important communication and expectations are and communicating those things. And we don't always do that in terms of our employees, right? We just sort of assume that everybody's on the same page, that they're going to treat this material with respect, and that they're going to honor that, yeah, this needs to be sent back. Hey, save the box. If save the box, because at some point you're going to need to send this back, and this box costs $30 to like send out a laptop to you. So save the box, and we'll send you out a prepaid stamp thing when you're ready to send it, or whatever your particular process is. Just make it as easy peasy as possible.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things too, that it's like any other process. If you set the right expectations from the very beginning and you just build it into your onboarding process, that when you have a new employee and you're hiring them, you've got the offer letter, you've got the W-2, you've got the I-9, you've got your company equipment checklist, and you've got your employment agreements or any other documents that you have. Just create that as part of your process. Have your checklist, and then you don't have to think about it again. It's all taken care of for you. So you've got that foundation and that expectation laid.
Yes, I love that. We were talking before we got on a little bit about the hiring process and how that's changed for a lot of people moving into virtual hiring. Again, kind of that virtual first. Most people are not doing in-person hiring. A lot of y'all are out there. You have waiting lists because the need is so great. And so you're trying to go out and hire. And this might be the first time that you're hiring completely virtual. What kind of suggestions and tips do you have for private practices that are out there and the hiring in this market and trying to create processes that will really work?
Yeah. Well, I think that, hiring has been a challenge for years. Like, we've called it the war for talent, and there's a lot of different renditions it's taken on over the years. So it's always been challenging. It's challenging for companies of all sizes, but especially for small organizations that may not have a dedicated recruiter to take all of that on. So you and I have talked about process a little bit and the importance of having kind of a clearly defined process. So I think being able to identify what your need is, like who you're hiring, and then writing a captivating job posting so that you can source those people. I always approach recruiting and sourcing as like a multi-pronged approach. So you're going to want to have a careers page or a page on your website so that someone might understand if they're a job seeker, they want to join you and join your team. Why would they want to? Like, what would it be like to work with you? And so having a career page or a dedicated page on your website to highlight that is key. And then being able to craft a job posting so that you're attracting the right person and you're kind of repelling the candidates that you don't want or the people that you don't want to work with. So, so I think that's key. And then secondarily, companies of all sizes can have automation and they can build within their process a system so that they can streamline that process. There are applicant tracking solutions out there that are built for small businesses, and being able to implement something like that so that all of your candidates funnel through a defined process, and it allows you to manage that with some automation and some built-in templates is key. So for us, we provide our services hourly, and in order to get the biggest bang for our clients' buck and really drive those results, we try to build in as much automation, but also have as much of a candidate-focused personalization that we can for that candidate experience. So it's really around looking at it as a defined process, building in a system, maybe implementing a product, and then letting that product work for you as you're sourcing and screening and vetting your candidates.
I've seen this with my clients so many times. If they just go out into the world and post on Indeed or on these different job sites, they just get these like random people who are, maybe they get lots and lots of candidates, but it could, like, one of the jokes is one of my clients who's hiring for a licensed therapist, the person that applied went to the Barbizon school. And she's like, I got this person going to Barbizon, which is like an old school beauty school. That's nothing to do with having a master's degree level or higher and a license in the state of California. She's like, what is going on? And so to even create this next thing of, hey, if you want to apply, you're going to apply on my website because I'm not going to take applications. You have to go to my website, and you know what? It's going to take a minute to go through this application process, but it's really worth it because I'm a great place to work.
Yes.
Here are the different pieces. So it's been really interesting.
The really good thing is if you have a system like the one that we partner with, you can build in knockout questions. So if you require someone to be licensed in the state, you can build that into your application process. And if they say no, that they're not, they can automatically be triggered to receive a rejection letter, and you can make it personal. You can schedule the amount of times. They're not getting it right away. Like, you can say in 48 hours, send this candidate a rejection, but it's part of that process that you build out. And there's additional things you can do. You can have questionnaires, you can, build out steps into that hiring process. But if there are things like that that are just so basic that they have to have in order to move forward, why not let automation take care of that for you?
For sure. I think that other piece too, I love the idea of that the careers page isn't just about showing, hey, we have a job opening, but it's about really creating this identity of like, oh my gosh, I really love to work there. like, oh, wow, these people seem to like enjoy their job, or wow, there's quotes and testimonials. We think of testimonials on videos just as like something client facing, but especially in the, in the field of like mental health, a lot of people go to these agencies and into practices where they have really bad experiences, where people are really burnt out, really taken advantage of. They have these huge caseloads, super low hourly rates, all of these pieces. And so they're very like, oh, I don't like where I'm working, but like, what if it's worse? It could be worse.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's really something that you can create, and you can highlight the things that are really important so that you're attracting that right type of candidate. You can attract, you can highlight the different benefits that you offer within the company, whether it just be you'll have more autonomy in your work, you'll have more of a balance, a work-life balance, or we're a small team, yet we do X, Y, and Z together. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. One of the other true benefits of an applicant tracking system is that you can share that job posting. It'll automatically syndicate out to like 17 different job boards, including Indeed, including LinkedIn Free, including Facebook Jobs. Like, it'll automatically do all of that for you. But it will then be something that you can share the link through any groups that you belong to, or any professional associations, any other Facebook groups that might be out there. You can share that link. You can, do direct reach out to potential folks that you might think might be interested, or ask them to pass it along. And you're funneling everyone right back into one system, so your inbox isn't overwhelmed. So you're not flooded with candidates that are just not qualified.
Well, and I love that too, the idea that like, hey, you're always going to want to have there's a lot of places you're going to want to post. How about if we automate as much of that as we possibly can? So you click a button and it goes out to all these other places, and then maybe you have a list of another 20 people that you have. This is the email list that this goes out to, and here are some specific people I want to reach out to. But maybe it changes that from every time you post a job, it takes you 5 hours to market it, to maybe you spend 30 minutes, or your staff person spends 30 minutes to set up the marketing. That's a huge shift.
Yeah, it really changes it levels the playing field. It gives small companies the ability to compete in ways that it's not, taking hours and hours of your time. Once you have a system set up, it's on your career page, you've got your job postings built out, you can tweak them and customize them. But it is just like having any other system that you implement for the first time, and you're like, why didn't I do this years ago? Like, how did I manage before this? So it is definitely something that that I encourage my small clients to do. We do a lot of system implementations of this type of product, and then you're able to do it on your own. You're able to hire without paying fees, and you're able to manage your process in a way that's really custom to you.
I love that. What's the kind of like the range of investment? So I know for therapists, they're usually like in this place of like, I don't even know how much to budget for like hiring somebody to go out and set something like this up and set up these kind of automations. How much should they be budgeting initially or per year to set up these kinds of automations or this kind of a product?
So there are all different ranges of investments. I mean, there are some applicant tracking systems that you're easily investing $30,000, $40,000 a year in. You don't need that. If you have less than 3 jobs open at a time, there are solutions that are built for small businesses. One of our favorite partners is it all right?
Yes.
Okay. Is Jazz HR. Jazz HR is a company or a product that I've worked with for over 10 years. They were started and built for small tech startups, basically. So they wanted to compete with the big applicant tracking solutions, but they wanted to be for small businesses. They wanted all the bells and whistles without having a huge financial investment. And they wanted to be customizable. So you can create a careers page that's branded to your business, and it's all done and hosted through their site. So they have 3 different price points. The first, I think, is $69 a month. It was $49 a month, month to month. And I believe it's even less if you pay for a full 12 months at a time. So it's an awesome solution. We do the implementation of that solution, and we've got clients that we continue to provide recruiting services for. And then others that are like, you did such a great job. We got this. You built out all the templates. Like we're on our own. And I think that's great. So
that's fantastic. I mean, that idea of like, and it's so interesting too. Sometimes with small businesses are like $70 a month, and then they look and they're like, oh wait, this is going to save me 5 hours a month, every month, in addition to it's going to help me make money if I can actually get candidates in regularly. You know, I have clients who their biggest bottleneck to growing their practice is just getting the right talent. Like we look at the numbers and go, oh my gosh, you doubled your take-home profit this year. They can easily grow to $1 million this next year, and they know exactly how many staff they have to hire. And every time they hire staff, without doing any like specific marketing more than like a few hours, the person is full. So they're in this place where, yeah, it's crazy.
That's amazing.
They keep saying like, Miranda, I need to do more marketing. I'm like, your people are full. Like within 4 weeks, like they're completely booked up, and you still have a waiting list. Like we can't hire fast enough. So if you're in that situation, to shift the scenario where you really can get into a place of hiring fast enough, it's a great investment into your practice and into your growth.
Well, not only that, but not only the time that you save, but the fact that, you know, some of these other places that you go to post a job, if you posted it on LinkedIn, you're spending $300 for that 30-day posting. And then you're again having to manage that candidate flow and all of the people that are interested. So I love the fact that Jazz posts automatically to all the syndicated sites. It's definitely been amazing for our clients that, you know, they don't have to pay for an Indeed posting or a ZipRecruiter posting, or they don't have to juggle a full inbox. They can streamline a process, knock candidates out, and then move them all the way through.
And so like with the Jazz one, does it, when you say syndicated, so it will still be on Indeed or it'll still be on LinkedIn, and they don't have to do a separate pay for all of these places?
Correct. It just pushes those job postings out. So then you'll get candidates from all over, and they'll all be tagged. So you'll be able to see, like Indeed tends to produce more candidates than any other site, but more unqualified candidates than any other site. But you can produce reports. So I'm a very data-driven person. I like to look at the data and see, like, if we were to do one thing, what type of results are we going to get? So you can really see like where your potential candidates are coming from. The thing that I also love about Jazz is you can hire at any level. So if you're hiring a part-time bookkeeper, a receptionist, or if you're looking for a partner in your business, or C-level, or whatever, you know, account executive, or whatever the role is within that business, if you're looking for a freelance marketer, anything like that, you can leverage the system to do that. And to me, it really is an amazing product. They're a great company. I've been really impressed. They've really enabled kind of the world to change. They've enabled small businesses to be able to hire without paying huge fees.
Yeah.
So
I love this. I already can think of a couple of my clients that I want to connect them with you. I connect them with Jazz HR. So we'll have the Jazz HR stuff there. Since you connect, you probably have an affiliate link or something for them.
I do.
Special link. So we'll put that special link in the show notes, you guys, from Teresa, because she was so nice to like share this information with us. And of course, Teresa can help you with actually how to implement this and customize it. If you're like, but I don't even know where to start. I love that there's this space so that you can do consulting with people to how to actually implement through this process. This is really fun. Like, this is such a great conversation. Check out Teresa Murphy at hireventures.com. Like, seriously, go check it out. Check out that template for the sharing of the
Company equipment return.
Exactly. I can't even say the word. And of course, if you're struggling with your hiring process and trying to create some more automations and how can you get more bang for your buck for these job postings and try to get really quality candidates, obviously she's got some great resources and they can help you implement some of those as well. Teresa, do you want to give any last one piece of advice to those business owners out there that have a few employees? Is there anything you want to leave them with?
I think just, your people, your listeners are providing such a necessary need right now. And so if there's anything I can do to help enable that, if there's anything at all, because it is really, I think HR can be like therapy sometimes within the employment relationship, but the need is just so there. And it is a really tough time. And so I just commend you for everything that you're doing to support your private practice therapists, and just keep doing it. The world needs it.
I could not agree more, Teresa. All right, see you guys in the future. Make sure that you subscribe, rate this episode or any of our other episodes, because we want to hear from you, how you like it. You want more of this, you want less of it, all this stuff. And of course, if you're looking for some free resources on growing your private practice, go to zinnyme.com/free. And we'll get you some free trainings. We even have free CE trainings now for you all, APA and MBCC. So until next time, guys, have a great day.
Bye.